A couple took their young son for his first visit to the circus. When his father left to buy popcorn, the boy asked, "Mom, what's that long thing on the elephant?" "That's the elephant's trunk, dear," she replied. "No, Mom, down underneath." His mother blushed and said, "Oh, that's nothing." The father returned, and the mother went off to get a soda. As soon as she left, the boy repeated his question. The father took a good look and explained, "That's the elephant's penis." "Dad, how come when I asked Mom, she said it was nothing?" The man took a deep breath and replied, "Son, I've spoiled that woman." Back in my day, the only time we started panic buying was when the bartender yelled last call. A preacher was delivering a temperance sermon one hot Sunday afternoon. With great expression, he said, "If I had all the beer in the world, I'd take it and throw it into the river." With greater conviction, he banged his fist on the pulpit. "And if I had all the wine in the world, I'd take it and throw it into the river." Finally, he said, "And if I had all the whiskey in the world, I'd take it and throw it into the river." Sensing he delivered a powerful sermon, he whipped his brow and sat down. The choirmaster, with shock on his face, looked over the congregation, stood very cautiously, and announced with a wry smile, "For our closing song, let us sing hymn number 365, Shall We Gather at the River." Congratulations to my wife who reached a new culinary milestone today by setting off the neighbor's smoke alarm. 3 drunk guys entered a taxi. The taxi driver knew that they were drunk, so he started the engine and turned it off again. Then said, "We have reached your destination." The first guy gave him money and the second guy said thank you. The third guy slapped the driver. The driver was shocked, thinking the third drunk knew what he did. But then he asked what was that for. The third guy replied, "Control your speed next time. You nearly killed us." A man walks into a pharmacy and wanders up and down the aisles. The sales girl notices him and asks him if she can help him. He answers that he is looking for a box of tampons for his wife. She directs him down the correct aisle. A few minutes later, he deposits a huge bag of cotton balls and a ball of string on the counter. She says, "Confused, sir, I thought you were looking for some tampons for your wife." He answers, "You see, it's like this. Yesterday, I sent my wife to the store to get me a carton of cigarettes, and she came back with a tin of tobacco and some rolling papers, 'cause it's so much cheaper. So, I figure if I have to roll my own, so does she." I went to this girl's party the week after she beat the shit out of my friend. While everyone was getting trashed, I went around putting tuna inside all the curtain rods, and so like weeks went by and they couldn't figure out why the house smelled like festering death. They caught me through this video where these guys at the party were singing Beyonce while I was in the background with a can of tuna. One time my drama class's teacher had gone home sick, so we were just put in a classroom with a movie to entertain us for the period when an alarm went off. None of us were sure if it was the fire alarm or the lockdown alarm, so we all head out into the hall to check and no one's out there, so we head back in and climb under our desks as is lockdown procedure. Cut to an hour or so later, when a teacher bursts in and nearly dies of relief because the school was on fire and we were the only students not accounted for, and half the faculty and fire department had been searching for us for ages. Literally, the whole school had filled with smoke while we'd kept super safe under our wooden desks. My whole class once got detention because I drew a penis with a glue stick on the whiteboard, and when the teacher went to wipe off the board, all the fluff came off and stuck to the glue. I never got in trouble for it because my whole class found it too funny to tell the teacher it was me. One time in 6th grade we were at recess, and while I was running to my friends, I just so happened to kick a huge rock. Keep in mind, I was wearing flip-flops, so it hurt like hell, and without thinking, I shouted at the top of my lungs, "Motherfucker." And with my god-awful luck, my math teacher was sitting at the bench right beside me. He then took me inside to what I thought was yell at me, but he just couldn't stop laughing and sent me back outside with a literal candy bar. He is still my favorite teacher I've ever had. One time in my chemistry class, while the teacher was talking, this guy asked loudly, "Does anyone have any lotion?" The teacher stopped talking as some girl gave him some hand lotion. The guy proceeds to slowly rub the lotion on his face as the whole class watches him in confusion. The teacher asks him what he's doing, and he responds with, "I forgot to moisturize this morning," and puts even more on his face. The teacher asks him to go to the hall to finish his moisturizing because he's being a distraction, and after about 10 minutes he still hasn't come back in. So someone opens the door to check, and he's still smearing lotion all over his face. He finally comes back in and hands the girl her lotion, and he's used up half of it. Now people call him Lotion Boy. So one time I was home alone, and it was around dinner time when I decided to make myself something to eat. I opened the freezer and dug around until I found what appeared to be chicken nuggets in an open plastic bag that for some reason didn't have any cooking instructions. Thinking that my parents must have thrown away the box for box tops, I called my mom to ask how long and at what temperature to cook chicken nuggets. She told me both of them. I laid out about 20 on a tray and stuck it in the oven, setting the timer before I walked out of the kitchen. When it was almost time to get my chicken nuggets, I walked into a cinnamon-scented kitchen. I searched all over that kitchen, trying to find the cinnamon scent, leading me to the oven. I decided to turn on the oven light to see if maybe my mom had stuck some cookies in the oven and forgot to bake them, but instead, I find that the tray my chicken nuggets were on has cookies on it instead. As I'm trying to process what just happened, I hear the front door open and my mom shout delightedly, "Ooh, what's that smell?" She walks into the kitchen and catches my confused expression. That's when the spark ignited and she realized exactly what had happened. Somehow in some form, I had accidentally baked snickerdoodles. And that is why my parents can never take my cooking seriously.